The MLB wildcard series are all complete. They're all over. And that means it's time for a little bit of a review. However, we had our main wildcard review on the Bleacher Brawls podcast. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. We also had a division series look ahead on the Doug and Barnes show. That should be going up the same day this video goes up on Tuesday, October 11th. So check that out as well. But we will be doing a wildcard recap. We'll be picking a key performer from each of the four teams that won their series and discussing their impact on their teams in this video. My name is Derek. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and let's get straight into it. First up, let's start with the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to go from the American League to the National League. And let's start with the series that ended first in the order of the time where the series ended. And so we will start with the Tampa Bay Rays and Cleveland Guardians series. The Guardians won both games. In the entire series, Cleveland scored 3 runs and Tampa only scored 1. It was definitely a very pitching series. Obviously, shout-outs can go to the entire Cleveland pitching staff. But I wanted to single someone out. And it's kind of hard to single someone out from the pitching side because all of Cleveland's pitching was amazing. So I'm going to go with the hitter and kind of pick the obvious option. I'm going to go with Oscar Gonzalez in the series. He hit 333 with a 1067 OPS. He was just solid, amazing, very good. He went 3 for 9 in the series, but most importantly, had the walk-off home run in Game 2 in the 15th inning to send Cleveland to the ALDS where they will be facing the Yankees. There wasn't much of a crazy performance. Jose Ramirez, you could maybe pick him for his 2-run homer in Game 1, or you could have picked Bieber or McKenzie, especially McKenzie, or even Bieber would have made sense though, for their starts in Games 1 and 2. But it's kind of hard to just pick out one from their pitching staff. A shout out though, I will give a shout out to Emmanuel Clase because I think it's the best closer in baseball, and he showed it in this series. The Rays just couldn't even get close to hitting him, and yeah, but also shout out to the Guardians defense, Miles Straw in center, stellar defensively. I mean, that's why he's there. That's why he's playing. It's for his defense, and he hit 286 in the series. Only 661 OPS, but we know why he's there. It's for his defense, and that was huge. Now, for the ALDS, for Cleveland to move on, they are going to need Steven Kwan to play a little bit better. Same with a guy like an Andres Jimenez. But the great thing about those two guys is if they're not hitting, they still provide defensive value, as does pretty much everyone on this Cleveland team. The only guy who maybe doesn't provide defensive value is whoever's DHing on that given day. So they are built for the playoffs, pitching a defense, and the timely hits. They can do it. They proved they can do it, although it did take 15 innings on Saturday. But they got it done. They got the job done, and that is what matters at the end of the day. Moving on to the Mariners series. This one was was an entertaining one, especially Game 2. Game 1, not so much. The Mariners won 4-0. But I gotta go with Cal Raleigh on this. The big dumper. He hit 500 in the series to the 1566 OPS. He went 4 for 8 in the series. He had that home run in Game 1, that 2-run homer in the first inning that really kind of showed the Blue Jays, from the Mariners' perspective, showed the Blue Jays, hey, we're here. We're not going to be an easy out for you, even though this is in Toronto. And they definitely weren't an easy out. Toronto didn't even get them out. Seattle won that series in 2 games, coming back from 8-1 down in Game 2 to win 10-9. And there was some other big performance. Eugenio Suarez had a good series. Adam Frazier was solid. Luis Castillo was great. Andres Munoz out of the bullpen was lights out in Game 1. Game 2 didn't have his best stuff, but still went out and got the job done. Yeah, the Mariners really got it. Carlos Santana had some clutch moments in Game 2, but Raleigh has to get it. Also, great defense behind the plate at the catcher spot as well. And you look at his Game 2. 3 for 4. He also drew a walk. He had an RBI. He scored 3 times, which isn't like the craziest thing ever. But he scored 3 times. I mean, that meant he got on base, and the guys obviously behind him did have to get the job done to drive him in, but he was the one. He got on base. I'm pretty sure a bunch of those times he just scored were from Carlos Santana, mostly. But yeah, the Mariners team, they could cause some problems for the Astros. I know the Astros played them well in the regular season, but it's the playoffs. It's not the regular season. You start off 0-0. The Mariners got a better record than the Astros so far in the postseason. The Mariners are 2-0. Astros are 0-0. So you start off fresh in the playoffs, and this Mariners team seems like they've taken that to heart. And now they'll have to be going to Houston to play the Astros, which will be a very fun series and a divisional matchup, both from the AL West. Now moving on to the National League, we'll go to the Phillies and Cardinals series. This one was a little bit harder for me to pick out who would be it. Like I could have gone with Wheeler or Nola. I just didn't really feel like going pitching. Maybe like Wheeler or Nola, like they could have made sense, but a little similar situation to Cleveland. I feel like they both were good enough. They'd get mentions 100%, but I don't think either of them really jumped out. And then there was kind of one hitter that didn't like jump out, but clearly did better than pretty much every other hitter on the roster. Obviously, Harper had his home run in the first. I think it was the first, or maybe it was the second inning. But he had his big moment with the home run. But Alec Bohm went 2 for 5 in the series, 400, a 1425 OPS. He had in game 2, Alec Bohm. He went 1 for 2. He scored a run, but he drew 2 walks. Guy got on base 3 out of 4 plate appearances, and that's what you take that all day. In game 1, he went 1 for 3. He had an RBI on his double. I mean, he was just solid. He was solid for a Phillies team that definitely were the underdogs. Definitely were the underdogs. And he went out and got the job done. And yeah, it was huge. Actually, I don't know if Bohm's RBI was on a double. It might have been on a sac fly. I don't remember actually. I don't remember that game too well, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember the first game from that Phillies Cardinals very well for whatever reason. But once again, Phillies did a great job. It was the pitching really for the Phillies. For the Guardians, it was all about the pitching and defense. Even for the Mariners, not as much, but they still Luis Castillo was amazing in game 1. Game 2, late in game 2, their pitching kind of came alive with you look at their bullpen and you look at Andres Munoz in the 8th and George Kirby in the 9th. Like they really shut the door on the Blue Jays. The pitching still mattered. For the Phillies, it was Wheeler and Nola. The pitching, obviously, don't have a defense like the Guardians have. Phillies' defense isn't really great, especially considering the fact that Bryce Harper has to DH, which means Nick Castellanos has to play right field. It's not a great defense, but they got the job done, and they beat the Cardinals, who was everyone's kind of pick to really that was the one team. If you didn't have a team left, the easiest team to go root for was the Cardinals because of Pujols, because of Molina, because of Wainwright. Could be their last chance together to get something done. But it didn't happen. The Phillies pulled it out. They won game 1. They won game 1 6-3 with some late drama, and then they won game 2 2-0 to wrap up the series. Lastly is this Mets-Padres series. This one I thought was the closest. And I will say I was the only one from the Bleacher Brawls crew to pick the Padres. So I'll just say that, rub it in their faces a little bit more. But no, it was a great series. Scherzer got smoked, gave up 7 runs on 4 homers. He gave up the homers, obviously. Josh Bell in the first inning, Trent Grisham in the second, Jerickson Profar in the 5th, and then Manny Machado in the 5th. Scherzer just didn't have it, it seemed, for the Mets. And then game 1 was solid, and Yu Darvish pitched well game 2. The Padres pitching just wasn't there. Blake Snell wasn't great. Morihone came out of the bullpen, did not look good at all, and that's kind of where the Padres lost that game. Although Adam Ottavino did run into a little trouble late, but Seth Lugo came in and got the save. And then in game 3, the Mets their bats just didn't get going against Joe Musgrove, who looked dominant. I know the Mets fans are bringing up, oh, well, he might have been cheating. He was not cheating. You want to bring up his ears. His ears have been shiny in other starts before. You can say spin rates or whatever. It's the playoffs. The guy's amped up. He's ready to go. He's got all this adrenaline going through him that can lead to increased spin rates. He was not cheating, did it fair and square. And after they didn't check him for sticky stuff, he only got more amped up and only had higher spin rates after that. So the Mets shot themselves in their own foot. A combined one hitter in Game 3. The only hit for the Mets was from Pete Alonso, which came, I'm pretty sure, at the end of the 5th inning, I think, or maybe it was the beginning of the 6th. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head, but it was in that middle part of the game. But only one hit from the Mets, and the Padres didn't use the long ball in Game 3 like they did in Game 1, but they got the job done. There's a bunch of guys to go through. Jerks and Profar had a great series. Juan Soto really turned the series around, especially in Game 3. Had a solid Game 3. Manny Machado was solid, had that big home run in Game 1, and had a couple good at-bats in Game 3. Josh Bell had that homer in Game 1. Jake Cronenworth, not a good series for him. Will Myers, not a good series for him either. Brandon Drury didn't play well in Game 2. Ha-Sung Kim did have a solid series, and the big thing with him is defense. Austin Nola had a great series in the 9 out of the 9 spot. Great series, 444 hitting in the series. Austin Nola was great. However, there's one guy that was even better than Austin Nola, and that was Trent Grisham. 500 average on the series, a 1917 OPS, a 1917 OPS for Trent Grisham in the 3-game series against the Mets for the Padres. He had a home run off Max Scherzer, a home run off of Jacob deGrom. He really proved. He only hit 184 in the regular season, but he proved in this playoffs that he's better. He's better than a 184 hitter. And we know the talent's there with Trent Grisham. He's got elite defense. That's why he's in the lineup. But he proved that his bat belongs in that lineup to this series against the Mets. But then obviously San Diego's own Joe Musgrove had a great pitching performance in Game 3, and then Suarez and Hader coming out of the pen, locking it up, making it a done deal, and the Padres will move on. And they've got the division rivals as well, the Dodgers. So AL West has two teams playing each other with the Mariners and Astros. The NL West has the Padres and Dodgers against each other. And then the other series are Central versus the East. Phillies versus the Braves, and then the Guardians versus the Yankees. It's going to be a very, very interesting division series. We're going to wrap this thing up, though. Make sure to check out all the links in the description. The Bleacher Ball's website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew stores. Check all this stuff out. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when we repost. We have lots of content. We will have a Yankees video going up tomorrow, Wednesday, October 12th. We will be recording it probably during Game 1, so I will get John's thoughts on the Yankees heading into the series, or like an inning into the series by the time we're recording. I'll get his thoughts on him, his thoughts on Aroldis Chapman, and all that stuff. We'll get all that tomorrow and get that out to you Yankees fans on Wednesday. It's going to be exciting. Make sure to tune in for all that. And we have a bunch more content throughout the playoffs and even into the off season. We're very excited about it here at Bleacher Brawls. And get commenting. We'll reply to some comments. We want to build a community here, so we're very excited about that. A great place to end it off, though. I'm Derek. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls, and I'll see you next time.